I can honestly say I never expected to experience so much personal growth just by starting and sticking to a YouTube channel. And this is the fourth channel I've actually attempted to start. It's the third channel, with my face in it, because I did at one point try one of those lazy, faceless, here's some scenes and some music stuff. But this is the third time that it's been me in front of the camera sharing myself with the world out there. And I can tell you, this has been so much more life-changing than those first two failed attempts. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't learn anything from those first two channels. There have been a lot of things I've learned from those first two channels from a technical and creative standpoint, and I still learn technical and creative things. And those are the most obvious points of growth for someone starting a YouTube channel, is with those technical and creative skill sets. But I wanted to focus today on the less obvious reasons that YouTube has changed my life with under 1,000 subscribers, and all of the changes that I never once expected. So I started this channel, and I think I had this idea of overall simple living and like weight loss, and I did need to get my home under control. And of course I love crocheting and knitting, but then I'm learning I don't really have anything original to say about crochet or knitting or like yarny types of things. So I never really put out a video related to crochet or knitting because I don't know what else to say about it. That makes me sound terrible, like I don't have a voice in that community, but that's not what I mean. It's something I enjoy, and I don't know that I want to make it like a career type of channel. Anyway, so if this is your first time hanging out with me, hi, my name is Holly. Largely lately, my channel is dedicated to me helping others declutter and simplify their homes without feeling like they have to become a minimalist. This is my third attempt at a channel, and even though I've only been at it for like 6 months and I'm still under 1,000 subscribers, which I'm learning to love and embrace and really enjoy the community aspect that I'm building right now, I really wanted to share with you all of the ways that YouTube has impacted my whole life just in the last 6 months. One of the first ways this channel has changed my life is that I've started letting go of a lot of the little stuff. Like, I didn't do the best job making my bed this morning, and you can see that right here. In the past, if I would have tried to start a YouTube channel, I would have made sure everything was absolute perfection. I was always made up and dressed a certain way, and it was very performative. And this time around, I just felt a lot like, just go with the flow. I know a large portion of my videos currently up, and I still do this, is I didn't even bother putting on makeup. And if I was in my comfy clothes on the weekend and I just wanted to share what I was doing, I wanted to keep it authentic more than I wanted the illusion of perfection or that I can keep things a certain way. And I really felt like it made starting this channel feel a lot more enjoyable to want to film and connect with others. And honestly, nobody has ever said anything if I've put on, a sweatshirt with the neck cut out of it and some old leggings with a stain on it. No one cares. They just want to come and hang out. And I think that's really awesome. Is that going to change? Will I eventually get trolls? Of course, it's the internet. I am prepared for that, but if you don't like it, you can choose another channel to watch. The next one is probably going to seem a little strange to admit, but one of the areas I've noticed a massive improvement is in my enunciation. I really noticed, either by editing, how much I was running my words together and how, I don't want to say unintelligible but in general, I'm like, wow, do I really sound like that? So I have paid a lot more attention to slowing down actually so that I can enunciate, because I think a lot of times my mind works so quickly that I was trying to keep my words up with, how my mind is working. And I can even feel myself feeling that way now, but I'm intentionally slowing myself down because I noticed either I had a hard time understanding certain words in editing, or I would see the closed captions come across and go, ooh, that's not what I said at all. And now that I see it, that was a very muddy pronunciation there. So I think that's really helped out a lot for communication. certainly also in the workplace. And as an added bonus, I can't remember the last time my dad has asked me to repeat myself. So it is trickling into other areas of my life. And, for him, I just figured, well, he's losing his hearing. Of course, he's going to have a hard time understanding, not realizing it was me and I was the problem the whole time. This one wasn't on the list, but learning to deal with turning on the camera and then suddenly your next door neighbor decides to mow his lawn. And this has happened more than once. There was one live stream, literally I ended and he doesn't even know I have a YouTube channel. So it's not intentional, it just happens. And as soon as I turned off the live stream, he was firing up his mower and, he lives in the world too. He should be allowed to. I'm not going to be, ridiculous about it or say, hey, can you knock it off for half an hour so I can get this out? That's just, no, I'll just come back and finish filming later. So if the lighting changes, that's why. So I've really learned to get a lot more, go with the flow. And it's very possible you won't hear it, but I can also see on the bars on the microphone in the viewfinder that it is picking up that background noise, especially as he's coming along the fence line. So if the lighting changes, that's why. I've also noticed nobody else notices usually lighting changes. We notice it as creators more than anyone else. When anything changes, but audience, they don't care. Honestly, I don't. So I'm telling you now, when you don't even care. So I'll see you in about a half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, and well, you're not even going to notice because it's going to be instantaneous. So one of the next ways that I feel like having a small YouTube channel has really changed my life is that this is the one place I feel like I get to be truly 100% authentically me. I don't have my work face on. We all have that work tone and trying to be professional all the time. Well, except that I swear a lot more at work and I almost never swear here, which probably means I actually like this more. But anyway, so it's the same thing. And I don't feel like I'm trying to be my family self and, everyone expects that I'm just the happy-go-lucky person. I get to share myself on a different level than I would share with anybody else that I interact with at any given time. That might sound sad in a way, but I think we all edit ourselves to a certain point in our daily lives, and I think this is a fantastic outlet to really find and connect with people who value you and who get you just the way you are without any preconceived ideas of how you should act and how do you behave and what kind of tone of voice are you speaking in all the time and all of those sorts of things. But anyway, there were two creators that were part of the instructor package of this particular course, and they pointed out my superpower before I even understood my superpower, and I was still dabbling in what is my niche, which is kind of what kinds of topics do you talk about on YouTube? And they were the ones that zoned in on it, and they were like, it's just you being you, and you're the type of person that we can see being the neighbor that people would love to just hang out with a cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and it's just a very hangout vibe. And I never realized that about myself, honestly. So I really have been trying to lean into that and go, I don't need to be this performative YouTuber with super highly edited and craziness. I can just sit with you and have a conversation with you. That's amazing to me. I got very teary-eyed when they pointed this out, and gosh, the things you learn at 42. I know I've joked a few times when I turned 42 or leading up to turning 42 of is 42 when you learn the meaning of life? And truly, I think it is, because I have never felt more like myself and more tuning into being authentically me and just not giving two shits what anybody else says or thinks or conforming to their idea of who I am than I have been right now. And I started this channel right before I turned 42, and I think that this has also been part of that is, yes, I've turned 42 and that's kind of the joke of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But honestly, like, I'm sure having this channel has really helped too, because the videos that typically underperform are ones that I felt like I was putting on a little bit of a front on. And so I think a lot of people felt that inauthenticity. Is that a real word? Inauthentic? Yeah, inauthenticity. It's a very awkward word, but I think it is a real word. And of course, there are videos that I tried something slightly different and it just underperformed anyway. But the ones that stuck out to me the most are when I was trying to almost be like another YouTuber or have like a certain type of, I don't know, presentation or performance value to it. I mean, not that I'm like a super high energy person anyway, obviously, if you've been around for any amount of time, but that's really interesting to have learned this about myself at 42. It's never too late. That's the other thing, is like learning like it's not too late. There are plenty of people out there who would love to connect with you no matter your age or whatever. Like, if you're even thinking about it, just do it, because you never know. Well, that leads us to the fourth way that YouTube has changed my life. And part of that is having been part of a YouTube creator course, is getting to know other new creators, some larger creators, and really it's such a special bond in community that I feel like the YouTube sphere has with one another. And I know that sounds really super cheesy. I hear it. It is super cheesy sounding. But when you're doing something you really love, just getting to know one another and really appreciating the artistry behind how others do their channel and how they edit and their sense of humor, it's all been a really fantastic just learning experience and getting to know one another. And I think what's really awesome is, yes, we're kind of all competing with one another, but I've noticed it's more of a friendly competition. And it feels like we all really want to see each other win. And I think that is an amazing dynamic to have amongst creators, is that we're not trying to tear each other down for the most part. We're really trying to help build each other up, help each other out. Hey, have you tried this camera? Oh, by the way, this is how I use this thing in this editing software to make this little effect happen. I don't know that I've been in such an enriching environment where others are so willing and ready to help you grow as a creator, as a human being, and in your own business. So I think that's probably the most amazingly positive thing. I thought I've worked for some pretty good companies and people, but they pale in comparison to the other creators out here on YouTube. And I'm not even trying to be, I'm really trying not to sound like a kiss ass either. It's just, that's really what I've noticed is like, yeah, of course we're competing with one another, but also, hey, I want to help you build you up and here's how to do better. Here's how I do this. It's been super awesome. The next way that YouTube has changed my life, I actually am sort of borrowing this from another creator who made a similar video, and obviously linked down below, because I think she probably said it better than how I'm about to express this. But as an introvert, like, I feel like we're all in our heads and we have things to say, but the extroverts in our lives just tend to steamroll us, or we feel like they don't really pay attention or really listen and hear us. And YouTube finds the audience that really wants to hear you and hear your voice. I don't know, that's just always something I've always struggled with, is just never feeling like I've been heard and truly seen by other people. And, you know, I'm just so thankful every day that YouTube finds another audience member like you that just is like, yeah, no, I get it. I totally get who you are. Also, none of the extroverts in my life are here to steamroll or talk over me or anything. And so I just get to say whatever I want. And I think that's pretty awesome. This next thing that I'm super thankful for about being specifically a smaller creator on YouTube, and I didn't embrace this as much in the beginning as I wish I would have, is, and sort of I did, but sort of I didn't, is the ability to experiment a little bit more than a larger creator who might already feel like they're in a specific box or pigeonhole. And I feel like once they've established the tone and their personal brand, they're kind of stuck with that. And maybe they're totally fine with it. And that's okay. I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like I've been able to go a lot deeper on topics than I've seen others in my space go, because I don't have that fear of losing a huge audience or turning people off. And I've always felt like there is an audience out there that is going through the same things that I am going through. For the longest time, I always felt so alone that I was the only one who couldn't get their shit together and who couldn't just be a normal adult and function like a normal human being, because I was either grieving or things got busy or any number of reasons that just got in the way of keeping a house and just wanting to come home and veg and do nothing. And I'm really glad I brought my audience on the journey of just trying to feel like myself again, because I really wish I had a me or seen someone going through this process, because others who have their homes decluttered and under control already, and they talk a lot about, hey, I came out of this crappy spot and now look at this beautiful home and it's easy to maintain now. It doesn't have the same feel as like being in the trenches and in the throes of, I feel like crap about myself, but I'm not down for the count and I'm still going to keep working at this, and I just have to do this for myself. So I think for that reason, being a smaller creator gives me a little bit more freedom to not feel like I have to be all bright and cheerful and present a certain way. I can be as raw as I want to be. So I can sit in my emotions and also sit with others in their emotions. And I think that is extremely powerful. So for that reason, I'm glad I'm still small right now. And I feel like this sounds barfy, even as like I'm getting ready to say this, is feeling like actually an entrepreneur. And I never thought I would ever want to be one. And I'm representing a new shirt that I got because I just felt like this is really like where I'm going right now is, I mean, obviously if I never get monetized, that's fine. This is still a huge win, but I'm finally like treating this seriously. I'm doing this like thing where I keep receipts and like track things and like feel like an adult. Well, guess I should probably start a profit and loss list too, but one thing at a time. I'm actually like doing this for real though. So what are you doing? He's trying to put a toy in my back pocket. It is hysterical. And I guarantee he's a cat. As soon as I try to change the camera angle to show you, he's going to be like, I wasn't doing anything, because that's what cats do when they think a camera is on there. They just stop whatever they're doing. They're suddenly, I'm not cute anymore. What are you doing? But yeah, so I do feel like this time around, I have learned how to become a lot more responsibler. And so that's been really cool to grow up a little bit here in the last 6 months. You know, it's about time at 42, and he's still trying to put a toy in my pocket. So if I jump up suddenly, it's because I got a claw in my butt. The last way that having a YouTube channel in the last 6 months has absolutely changed my life. This has been the most transformative personal growth I have experienced probably maybe in my entire life. My motive when I first came onto YouTube was much like anybody else. Let me grow my channel, get monetized, quit my 9 to 5, or at least, you know, drop down to part-time or whatever the case is to achieve financial freedom and just, well, it's easy to turn on a camera, right? And just, I'm going to do these things anyway and bring everyone along and get some AdSense money, and then everything's easy peasy. I'm not saying coming onto YouTube and making money is still like, obviously it's still a priority for me, but what I didn't expect was when I was still kind of muddling around in the beginning and trying to figure out what types of videos I wanted to create, that first Declutter With Me video, yeah, let's talk about that, because I posted it on a Sunday. By Wednesday, I had, I don't know, like 37 views or something, and I'm like, I guess I'll change the thumbnail just to see. I'll do one last ditch effort, change the thumbnail. Over the next week and a half, it kind of blew up, at least for a channel my size, and that really threw me off. More powerful than that video taking off and getting over 12,000 views in like 10 days just by changing a thumbnail. Like, that still just blows my mind to this day. The most rewarding part of YouTube was seeing your comments on that video, like starting to roll in. And when I continued with the decluttering series, Gosh, I don't know that I've ever felt anything more fulfilling in my entire life. I know I've had people in the past kind of challenge me and ask me if I feel fulfilled with a job. Like, maybe I like the job, but was it fulfilling? And I was like, I didn't really get what they were saying until recently when I really started feeling that. And the reason I felt really fulfilled is by seeing all of your comments of like the ones that really touch me of, hey, just watching your video has really helped me today, and I got this decluttered and I didn't think I would. Or, hey, thanks for sharing this because I thought I was the only one who was feeling crappy. Or, yeah, I'm in the place where I'm just watching and just hoping someday I'll feel inspired enough to get up and start taking my life and my home under control. Probably the comments I get the most often is some version of, hey, thanks for being so real with us. And like, I mean, I don't know how else to be other than, obviously I was trying to be a little bit performative in some of my videos and in my past channels where I was trying to be like all light and bubbly and everything's, you know, rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. And that's not life. And I'm really glad to see this trend where YouTube is going back to its roots and putting the you into YouTube, where you get to hang out with me, I get to hang out with you, and it's not a bunch of pretense and, you know, hyper editing necessarily. I mean, there is value in some of that stuff. I still find some of those highly entertaining. So there's a place for everybody on YouTube and every audience member. And that's part of why I got on here, is because if I cancel all of my streaming services, I'm still paying for YouTube Premium because it is what I watch the most. Because I also get to feel like I'm hanging out with other people, or I'm learning a new skill, or I'm just learning about something else going on in the world besides myself. And I've always felt like I'm just a lifelong student. And so that's why YouTube is a huge draw for me. And, you know, am I really like teaching in the formal sense of teaching? Of course not. I really enjoyed this learning from each other and seeing your comments or even suggestions. If you're like, hey, why didn't you try this? And I'm like, that's brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? So I honestly think this is the best thing ever, especially in such a digital world when we're feeling alone. But then we have this awesome, amazing platform that we can connect with each other at any given time and support each other, and that I can serve you. Like, I think that's been the most amazing revelation, is feeling like I have found my true calling and my true purpose in life is just by starting this channel. And honestly, I didn't expect that at all. So for that reason alone, I am so glad I just turned on the camera and hit record, even though my life was going to shit at the time that I started recording. And I know that's the whole thing of Genesis in the Bible. Chapter 1 is disruption always follows intention. So like, I wanted to start this channel and do this amazing thing, and then everything in my life is turning into a dumpster fire, and I still decided I was going to do it anyway, and I was going to persevere no matter what, because I didn't want to quit anymore. And now that I have found people like you to walk through with life and just have this amazing community, I mean, it really doesn't get any better than YouTube. So I'm really glad I stuck with it. And I'm still going to share all the shitty things. Hey, Queso. And I know you guys love when he comes here. Come on. Let's see if we can get him. Queso, come on. Come on, they want to see you. No. Are you sure? That's the other thing. When you press record, you never know what's going to happen either. Even if you think it's like the perfect day to film, you just never know. And so I've learned a whole lot of just keep doing it, keep trying, keep sticking with it, and perseverance and community. So yes, even with less than 1,000 subscribers, I'm not monetized yet, and I almost don't care if I never get monetized, because how this is changing my life and how I'm able to serve you and have this bond with you has just been unparalleled. So I really can't wait to see where this goes in the future and how many others I can really build a great connection with. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I cannot wait to see you and many more for many years to come. Bye.